All right, I'm getting ready to head off to Vegas for the joint practice on Thursday. 49ers did make another roster move. Boy, they've been making a heck of a lot of roster moves during this training camp, more than I ever remember. Just the comings and goings. They're just kind of cycling through these veteran guys or guys who've been around a while. And, I don't know that they've really brought in anybody who has a legitimate chance to make the 53-man roster. When the biggest news-making guys or the biggest names they've brought in during training camp were probably Equanimeous St. Brown, who's now on injured reserve, and the cornerback Eli Apple, who only stuck around for about a week before the 49ers released him. So big news, 49ers sign a veteran wide receiver. Not so big news. It's none of the names that we've thrown out there as guys who could possibly make a splash or be on the team when the regular season begins. So let's just cut right to it. The 49ers signed Malik Turner. He's been with the 49ers. He's been around. He's 29 years old. 49ers had him in Tuesday for a tryout. They had 4 different receivers in. And just to give you an idea, they also had Jalen Camp, a wide receiver, 27 years old, Frank Darby, a wide receiver, 27 years old, and Kwame Lassiter II, also 27 years old. Those are guys who kind of bounced around the league. They've never really established themselves. So I'm going to go back to what I said a couple days ago when the idea of Gabriel Davis or Amari Cooper came up. I just think it's highly unlikely. Don't shoot the messenger, folks. I'm just telling you. If they had determined that they needed to go out and get a veteran receiver who isn't necessarily going to be competing for a spot on the team, somebody that they would pay some money to, and see this person as a contributor on the team week 1 through 17 or 18, and then into the playoffs, they would have already signed him because whether it's Cooper or Davis or whomever else, if they thought that they needed a guy week 1 to play and all the way through the season, they would have already signed him. And so what are the sticking points? Well, it's certainly the money aspect of it, but also I think the 49ers would see anybody they bring in as just a stopgap measure to help them get through 3 games or 5 or 6 games and nothing beyond that. Because I think when they look at how they project out the season, they still look at Brandon Ayuk being around for more than half of the year, Jauan Jennings the entire season, Demarcus Robinson perhaps all but the first 3 games, Ricky Pearsall the entire season, Jacob Cowing the entire season, Russell Gage Jr. the entire season. And then, the veteran guys they brought in, guys like Robbie Chosen and Isaiah Hodgkins. Those are guys that, who are the veteran guys who are trying to find a spot on the team. So the latest guy that they sign is Malik Turner. He was with the 49ers last year during training camp, also spent time on the practice squad, so he knows the system. He'll be on the field on Thursday when the 49ers practice against the Raiders. His NFL career started in 2018. He was with Seattle in 2018 and 2019. He was with Dallas in 2020 and 2021. And he did play in 3 games. The last time he played in an NFL regular season game was in 2022 with the 49ers, had 3 games with them. So he joins this roster right now at wide receiver. And the corresponding move for the 49ers was putting Bradley Anae, a defensive lineman, on injured reserve. So what are the next moves for the 49ers? I can almost guarantee you that Thursday morning in Vegas, I'll be tweeting out who the 49ers signed as defensive linemen, because right now their defensive line is extraordinarily thin. And just recently, aside from Bradley Anae, who's only been with the team a short time, they've also brought in Jalen Allen, Bruce Hector, and Travis Gibson. Now, those are just the new guys who come in. They did Michael Dwumfor as well. I'm not sure his status, how much longer he's going to be around. But think about this. The 49ers, these are the guys who have been on the team who definitely have a spot on the team who aren't able to practice right now. We'll start off with Michael Williams. He's going to be out probably another week with a hyperextended knee. 49ers got lucky that it was only a hyperextended knee after he went down in the joint practice against the Broncos. Evan Anderson, the defensive tackle, just returned to practice this week after he missed some time with a bruised knee. But the guys who are out and not expected to practice against the Raiders or play in the game, of course, we'll start with Michael Williams, but also Jordan Elliott, Robert Beal, Sam Okawanu, and then Kevin Givens, who has a pectoral injury and will miss time into the season. So none of these are considered long-term situations with the 49ers, with Beal, Elliott, Okawanu, and Williams, but Givens is. But you can expect that the 49ers will be bringing in defensive linemen if they haven't already. And we'll see how many of those guys end up getting on the plane with the 49ers and traveling to Vegas so that they can take reps and take part in the joint practice 49ers against the Raiders. So the wide receiver is not the guy that everybody, not anyone who's going to move the needle as the 49ers try to sort out this whole situation and, figure out what's going on with Jauan Jennings. Is he going to make the trip or not? I don't know. But, as we've talked about with Jennings, the calf injury that Kyle Shanahan insists is there. It shows up on an MRI. And yet, there are the rumblings behind the scenes that the absence from practice is contractual in nature, or at least the contract plays into it in some shape or form. Exactly to what extent, we don't know. That's kind of the mystery with this. But I will say this: if you're looking for a long-term extension, or at least a multi-year extension and a raise in salary, I'm not sure the way to go about it would be to lean into the idea that you have a chronic calf injury. And if you're the 49ers, and Shanahan did say, this is the same calf that bothered him last year, that bothered him in the offseason program, as much as Jauan Jennings is a huge part of this team and was, in essence, a huge part last year, nearly 1,000-yard receiver, and their top producing wide receiver from last year. I think I'd be very cautious before signing him to an extension or a significant pay raise when there are these questions about his calf. So it's kind of this weird situation where, is the calf injury keeping him off the field? That's not good for his contract. Is he not practicing because of his contract? That might not be the right path either. So the fact that he did show up at training camp and was on the field for the first few practices, that says something. I'm not quite sure what it says, but right now it's kind of a mystery that has kind of been unsolved at this point as far as what exactly is the situation with Jauan Jennings and what is the status of that potential contract. So that's something obviously we'll be keeping an eye on as we go here. Oh yeah, one more thing. Just getting the news now. The 49ers did have defensive linemen in for workouts. Keyshawn Banks from San Diego State was in. William Bradley King, formerly of Baylor, and Damone Harris, formerly of the University of Buffalo. And just looking at those names, probably William Bradley King and Damone Harris would be the guys who would be more likely for the 49ers to sign, but I would definitely expect them to sign one of those guys just because of what I outlined, all those injuries that they have at the defensive line position. So there's the quick roster rundown. I got a flight to catch right now to go to Vegas, and hopefully I do hit it big at the tables. That's probably not true. I probably won't do that. But anyway, 49ers and the Raiders practice on Thursday, and I will be there. Thanks for watching, and that is it for now.